So I had an idea of putting heat back into the car. Please feed the YouTube algorithm by giving the video a like. If you want to see more like this, click subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of new videos. If you want to chip in on my expenses, I now have Patreon and YouTube memberships. And this is the input pipe right here, where the heat pipe came through from the engine in the back and just went onto here, and then the air mixing controls let you have fresh air or hot air. So this seems like a natural place to put a heater. And I found the cutest little one, and I measured it up and hoped for the best, but look what happens. It actually fits right inside the pipe with just this much extra space. I could not have asked for anything better. So, makes my job easier as a 3D designer. I'm going to make a part that goes around the outside of this and then has two mounting bolts. So you mount the adapter onto this and then slide it on, and maybe with a set screw, and it'll be super nice and tight and provide heat. And then this is driven by another part that I bought, which I will show you now. Now this heater and the little fan that makes it blow, it looks small, but it's mighty. It puts out almost 200 watts, and it says that it'll pull 18 amps at 12 volts. So this is putting a fairly substantial strain on the power system, but I needed a way to control this to make a little bit of heat or a lot of heat. I don't want it on full blast all the time. So I bought this DC motor controller, which looks complicated, but it's pretty simple. It basically takes 12 volts in and controls the high flow of current going to this, what it thinks is a motor, but it's actually a heater. It doesn't really matter what the load is, it's just pulling a buttload of DC amps. And the included potentiometer will go in the dashboard, and it's got a very, very smooth feel. So I'm happy with the way this feels. I'll be keeping that. But I ordered a Porsche knob that has a little zigzag on it that looks like a heating coil, and it comes from cars with rear window defrosters back in the day. So I have to make this cable longer, install this in the dashboard, put the Porsche knob on it, mount this in the gas tank battery box area, mount this to the input of the hot air pipe, and then I've got a car with adjustable heat. I got the 3 control wires from the potentiometer for the heater control pulled through the firewall. It was more trouble than it was worth because I tried to put it inside a small black plastic loom, but it just kept getting caught up in there and was a total disaster. So now there's 3 wires. These will come into this battery, old battery box, connect to the heater control here. And lucky for me, there was already a hole punched in the metal behind the dashboard right next to the climate control. That's a great place for my little potentiometer. And the one I got now has an audible and tactile on-off. So that's off, and then on turns like that. So I know that the heater is off. And to cap it off, I picked up this knob from Renline, which is normally used for rear window defroggers. Not defroggers, unless you're being pelted with frogs. Defoggers. And it's going to be exactly what I need. Represents having some heat on in the car. Click. Okay, when I designed the 3D adapter to go between the heater and the original piping right here, this is the 3D part, I made it a little small, and what I just did was heat it up with a heat gun, and I just slid it right over the pipe that was sticking out, and that is really really nice and snug on the end there. So I think that will be sufficient for my needs. It's got the 2 beefy wires for the heating core, and then 2 wires that turn on the fan. So I realized that I have a switch in the dashboard that has an on-off click and then a dial. So the dial will go to the motor controller, which will eventually send power to the heating coil, but the on-off will go to the control wires to power the 12 volts to spin the fan. So when nothing's happening, it's all off. As soon as I click on, this fan will come on. As I turn up the knob, it will make more heat. And that's pretty much what we're looking for. There's some light. So this is ready to go and to be wired into the control board, which will sit in this box. So that's a nice little project taken care of. Okay, I'm cheating a little bit from the future. I'm showing you the position of the control board that is mounted inside the tank box, which is the main 12-volt system. Wires are not tidy yet, but it's getting a 12-volt source and controlling the heater and the fan. So it is happily at home. Now let's do a spin test and see if it makes spinny hot air. Fan test with the fuse this time. Yes, we have fan! Woo! Savor the small victories, people. Just before we wrap up, I want to thank my Patreons, Peter Bouvier and Puppy, for their support. We also just popped over 2,000 subscribers, which is quite a nice milestone for my little channel. All support is greatly appreciated. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if so, please give it a thumbs up. I see that 81% of the viewers aren't subscribed. Please do, as it does help the YouTube algorithm. Take care and see you next time.